Good evening, everybody. How are we all doing? I hope I'm on live. I hope you can see me and hear me okay. I think you probably can. Thanks, everybody, for joining. There's a few of you around already, which is great. I'm cracking open the good stuff tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm having a Guinness. Cheers. Have I got a Guinness moustache? But anyway, hello, everybody. This is my first live stream for several weeks. I think probably might even be over a month since I was last able to do one, because the last one that I did, I pretty much started packing up my old room as soon as I'd finished it the day after, and I've only really today, I did a bit of a test today when I finished work just to think, am I set up for one in here? And I've got a ridiculous amount of wires everywhere, and I'm taking a bit of a gamble. I hope this is working. So I think today's the first day really that I've been set up to do live streams rather than just normal videos. But anyway, there we go. I hope you're all well. I've not got a mouse on here. I'm on a laptop. I've never done a live stream on my laptop before. So I hope that this is going to work okay. I've got a completely different setup to what I used to have, and I'm really trying to get my head around it. But thank you, everybody, for the questions that are coming in so far. Keep them coming. I've got a few things that I want to talk about tonight. But plus as well, anything that anybody wants to talk about, then we can do. I'll be around for probably about an hour, I would expect. And if this all goes okay, then that tells me that I'm probably set up and ready and able to do some of these listening parties that I've been talking about doing for a little while. So, well, two of them really. All Things Must Pass and McCartney 3 Imagine. So I've been saying I'll do those. If this works, I know I'm set up and I'm ready and I can do those. They will come very soon. So can you hear me all okay, everybody? Because like I say, I'm on a bit of a different setup, but hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm going to try and stick towards the bottom of the questions as normal, so if I miss it out, it's probably not deliberate unless you've really annoyed me, and then just ask it again and I'll try and get to it. But hello, everybody. Hello. Let's start with hello, Bella the dog. Hi, Andrew. Do you wish you'd got the Uber? Do I wish I'd got it? I'd love to have it. Let's make no bones about it. I would love to have it. I would rather have that. How much is it in the UK? I think it's £859. I'd rather have that £859 in my pocket or my bank account. I think. I guess the question for me is, at what price would I have gone for it? And that's not to say that I think it should have been cheaper, because it's like it's a luxury item. I don't necessarily see that they had to give value for money on this. It's a luxury item, and if it was value for money, it wouldn't be so much of a luxury item. But if it had been, I guess if it had been about £500, that'd have been a tempter for me. I'd have really had to think about that one then. So so to answer your question, Bella the dog, I'm happy to still have that money available for other things as it stands at the moment. Hi, good songs. Thank you. Your room looks fantastic. Thank you. It's taken a lot of setting up, and I know that there's certain things about this room that are more difficult for me to do YouTube stuff in. But I'm working around that. I'm trying to make it easier for me to do stuff, because this is primarily a listening room. This is something where I know some of us have had a bit of a laugh about my lack of chair recently. I have got a great chair, but it's at the other end of the room. I'm just going to flip my camera around a second, and I've got a real nice recliner leather chair, but it's up there. It's not really portable, and that's there for listening purposes. It's and if I did my videos there, I'd just have this blank wall behind me. So I'm kind of trying to work around that at the moment. So let me keep on top of these comments that are coming through. Guinness is good for you. Yeah, I agree, Mark, it is. Do you know, my granddad got prescribed Guinness by the doctor about 40 years ago. He had a back problem, and the doctor said, the iron in Guinness, that's what you need, and he prescribed him a Guinness a day. So if it's good enough for my granddad, it's good enough for me. Opinions, hi Lucas, sorry, opinions on the Target All Things Must Pass fiasco. I never got mine. You're going to have to let me know. See, we don't have Target over here in the UK, so I've not really been close to any fiascos. I'm guessing, have they not got the stock that they said they would have? Is that what the problem is? let us know. I'd like to hear what the issue there is. Hope that gets resolved anyway. Shout out to Big Martin in bed, please. Well, that sounds a bit... maybe straying into other things there, but hello, Martin. I hope I'm not getting involved in anything I shouldn't be there. Hello, everybody. Right, okay. There's sound okay, video okay. Thank you very much. Right, I'm going to just go down towards the bottom. Like I say, if I've missed you out, then I apologise and I will try and get to you shortly. Joe, hi Joe, Mr. Mayo's in, and good to see you. I'm very pleased with the Uber itself, but it's certainly overpriced. I'm trying to catch up with a lot of videos at the moment, Joe, and I've seen the start of your Uber unboxing video. I've not had a chance to watch all of it yet. But I've certainly seen the start of it where you're showing the box and taking the... I think I got quite early on, I got as far as the Klaus Vormann prints that you took out, and then I got distracted by work. But I will go back and finish watching that. Hi, Padgic? Why is the camera moving up and down? Shaky table. It is a shaky table. It's all still a little bit... Heath Robinson is the phrase that we use over here. It's all a little bit makeshift. I've got just like a little table that's for drinks, but my laptop's sat on it. So every time I scroll down, I'll try not to shake it too much. Hi John Garvey. Hearing lots of complaints from those shelling out the big bucks. Enjoying it on Apple Music. Sucks. Bobby Whitlock getting ignored for his contributions. What do we think about that? I have had so many... I don't know why everybody's so interested in asking me about what I think about Bobby Whitlock things. Bobby's not happy, is he? But I think... I want to be careful how I phrase this, because I phrased something in writing on a YouTube comment, and I think I phrased it... I wasn't happy with how I phrased it. I phrased it wrong. So I want to kind of try and set the record straight here. So Bobby's not happy. He's really not happy. But I just wonder, because he's obviously so close to it, he was there for probably just about all of it. He's on most of it. I just wonder whether he's listening for different things than what the rest of us can listen for. And I've tried to kind of put myself in his shoes. I mean, I've been in recording studios, and I've recorded songs with bands, and I know that if I listen back to that ever, I can't just listen to the song as the song. I'm always thinking about I'm always thinking about the bit of guitar that I'm playing, or the bit of piano that I was playing, or who was playing that bit there, and that wasn't me, and it sort of messes with your head. And I just wonder. I don't think the likes of me and those of us who just love the album can necessarily approach it from the same point of view as somebody who was there and on it, because they've got different things that they're going to be listening for. So Bobby's not happy, and if Bobby's not happy, then he's got good reason for that. But I've probably been more critical of the All Things Must Pass release than I've been about anything on any video that I've ever done. And it was pretty mild for me. I mean, I wasn't slagging it or anything. I think the main thing I was just talking about was I didn't think the value for money was there in the 5 CD and Blu-ray box, and I really don't. I think it would have been, if it had been priced at about £75, I think that would have been about right. When you compare it to what the likes of Lennon, there was a recent set by The Who, for example. When you compare it to what they can give for their money, I don't think it stacks up as a plus £100 set. I really don't. But that's not to say I don't really like it. So I did my review. My review was mainly based on the listenings that I'd done on CD. But I had listened to the Blu-ray at the time, and you know, I could see things that were a disappointment on CD were not necessarily so on the Blu-ray. There was something of an improvement. What I haven't gone into detail yet about is the fact that I listened to the Splatter vinyl when that came, and I've listened to that a couple of times, and this is where I'm going totally the opposite direction to what Bobby Whitlock was saying. I thought the vinyl was superb. I really did. I thought it was a real cut above the CDs. there was some of the bigger songs. Like I was really not happy with My Sweet Lord on the CD. I thought it just sucked all the epicness. I know that's a word I like to use. It sucked all the epicness out of it, and I didn't think it sounded good at all on the CD. The vinyl, I think, was much closer. Let's put it like that. I think some of the louder songs on the album, where I felt that the dynamics weren't there on the CD, I didn't feel that on the vinyl. I thought it sounded really good. So I really enjoyed. It's the splatter vinyl that I've got, and I really enjoyed that. Loads and loads of people, for whatever reason, have been trying to sort of get me to share Bobby Whitlock's opinion, and I'm not going to. That's not because I've got any issues with him. I just think that he's looking for something different, if that makes sense, because he was there and he's looking for other things to draw on, maybe in what he's wanting from it. So as Forrest Gump said, that's all I have to say about that, I think, for now. I'm sure it'll crop up again later on. So I think I've been missing all your comments, so apologies for that. Again, keep them coming through if I've missed them, but I'm going to concentrate on ones that have been asked relatively recently. So what have we got? Let's have a look. Multiversa, I wish they would release a 5.1 disc separately. I would get it. I just don't think anybody does, really, do they? None of these releases, they never seem to issue that. I think they want that probably as a way to draw people into the expensive sets, and it's the difference between, I've kind of talked about this before, there's a difference between what we want as fans and what the people in charge of projects want to offer us, and I think that's one bridge that you're never going to quite gap. You have got the option, was it 5.1 you're asking about, or just high res? I think it might have been 5.1. I don't know whether you can buy the 5.1 separately. I mean, I've bought the high res separately, but that doesn't come with the 5.1 mix, so I don't know. John Norris, I think you've asked this a couple of times, and I've missed it out, so I'll come to this now. John says, big question. Do you think music box sets, super deluxe editions, etc., are mainly the obsessions of men? It seems to be me the vast majority of collectors and obsessives about it are male. Well, I guess, it's not a 50-50 split, is it? Like the population is a 50-50 split. It's that way. So it maybe does appeal. I think I've heard people say in the past about sort of certain sports people have said that some sports they find that they just tend to be male dominated because they're the only ones daft enough to get that obsessed about it to become that good, and they kind of mean that in a self-deprecating way rather than they're not being sexist. I don't think they're just sort of saying that we are a bit daft sometimes with our obsessions, and I think certainly even if you probably looked at if you took the like what percentage of men and women collect records, there probably is a slightly higher percentage still if you went to box sets. But I don't know. I don't have the detail on that. But you're probably right, John, to be honest. So there you go on that. Hi, Graham. Yeah, you still prefer the 5.1 surround sound rather than the Atmos? Yeah, I know you love your 5.1 surround sound, don't you? So I'm glad you're enjoying that. Excellent. Sheffield and beyond, hi, how are you doing? Thanks for joining again. You're always here, thank you. What is the appeal of the Uber box? The vinyl and CD can be bought separately. The book is nothing new. The prayer beads, the gnomes, no. I think the book, I understand that the book is kind of a big selling point with the Uber, a really, really good book. And I guess it's just a bit like what I was saying before. It's like a luxury item. It's the prestige of having it partly. You could go and buy the big items like the CDs and the vinyl. You could go and buy that separately, save yourself a lot of money. But I think those probably, I'm imagining that a lot of people who've got the Uber are probably loving it and are really glad that they've got it. So I think it's probably like a prestige thing, potentially. Joe, if you're still around, Joe Mayo, you might be able to tell us what do you regard as the appeal of having the Uber? Is it the kind of thing that I mentioned, or is it something different for you? Lima, you have a different experience with your playback of the vinyl. Okay, tell us more. I'm guessing you're not so chuffed with it then. let us know. Good songs. What do you think of the Idris Elba mix of Long-Tailed Winter Bird on Macca 3 Imagined? It felt so out of place to me. Well, I did wonder what on earth it was when it first started, because it is effectively, all right, you've got that little Long-Tailed Winter Bird guitar riff, but other than that, it's a completely new song that we've not heard before. So it's the kind of thing that you probably, I assume he worked on it as a separate song, and we might have normally expected to get it as a bonus track on a special edition release or something like that. But there it was, and he started singing this jolly little ditty. So it certainly took me by surprise, but I think to call it Long-Tailed Winter Bird remix is a bit of a stretch, because, 95% of it doesn't really feel like it's got anything to do with Long-Tailed Winter Bird at all. But I quite like it. But yeah, it threw me a bit when it first came on. Sean, hi Andrew. I love the music content of All Things Must Pass, but was disappointed in the size of the packaging in the extras. Yeah, so you can see I've got up there over my shoulder, I've got the box there, and it is small. It's about it's pretty much a bang on the same size as the Beatles Christmas records box from a few years ago, and I think I've no problem with it being that size. I've no problem paying over £100 for a George Harrison box set, but I just don't think that box set and the £110 price match with each other. I'd rather pay a fair price for that and keep having them that size, or give me something for the same money that is much more comparable with, say, for example, a Lennon set. So I'm okay with the price, I'm okay with the box, but the two combined just don't seem to match to me. Right, let's go back down, because again I've been missing a load out here. So let's good grief, let me get back down here. Someone's been a fool, so we're just gonna say no, you're not gonna do that anymore. This would be a lot easier if I had a mouse. Bear with me 1 second. There you go. Right. Where's my scroll bar? Sorry, bear with me 1 moment. Right. Okay. Here we are. Graham says, did you see the Let It Be ad? Changes every day. Yes. So Let It Be, Get Back, whatever you want to call it. And guess a lot of you know. I'm certainly, I've done that Sheffield and Beyond. I've got rid of him. So what was I saying? Let It Be / Get Back. I'm sure. This has been all over the internet in the last 24 hours or so. So I'm not. I can't be done for saying anything that I shouldn't be saying, because it's all out there. So it looks like October 15th. We're getting. What's it going to be called? Is it going to be called Let It Be or Get Back? It looks like we're getting a box of something, maybe 5 CDs. But Graham, the picture that you sent me earlier on Twitter, I believe is a bit of a fake. I think it's. I don't think that's genuine. It looks good, and they've got the 2021 year, which is accurate, but I believe that's been something that just somebody's knocked up. So I hear. So I'm going to talk a lot more about that a bit later on, but yeah, it's coming, and I'm going to be all over that, because it could be amazing. It depends how much they go into it. So I definitely want to come back and talk about that a little bit later on. So, Multiversa, you would have been happy with Jeff Lynne overseeing the remixes, but that's water under the bridge. Jeff did such a marvellous job with Free as a Bird and Real Love. Jeff doesn't really sort of get used for remixes, does he, so much? Not that I know of. Anyway, maybe he does, and I don't see it. But I think just generally, it's kind of a Paul Hicks or Giles Martin kind of job for these Beatles releases, isn't it? These days, they are the go-to people. So unless if there was a Cloud 9. Well, I don't think it'd need remixing anyway, so I'm not quite sure what situation they would bring Jeff in, because he'd probably say, well, it doesn't need remixing, it's great as it is. So I don't know. I don't know what that was. A terrible Birmingham accent there. Right, where are we? This chat's moving really quickly, and I'm struggling to keep up with it. I apologise. Sunshine Cool Water. The size of the All Things Must Pass 5-disc box makes the album itself look insignificant. If placed next to a McCartney or Lennon set, you would think they would standardise releases. It's interesting, isn't it, how they all come together, if you pardon the pun, they all come together to work on Beatles releases, but the format of the Beatles releases, none of the individual groups involved have actually adopted that style for their own releases. So it's interesting. You'd think, for example, that they'd take something from one of the Beatles releases and they think, oh God, yeah, that was the Beatles releases started before the Lennon ones did and the Harrison ones did. And you'd think if they'd signed off on those that there might be things that they'd take from it. But it's interesting how they've all gone a different route to each other. Andrew, you thrilled to see Sensual World behind me. Your favourite Kate Bush album. I'll move out of the way. Yeah, that's a fantastic album. It's not my favourite Kate Bush album. It's probably not even top 3 or 4, to be honest. But songs like this woman's work, you can't argue with quality of song like that. Brilliant. Mark, any news with the Back to the Egg London Town archives? Not a peep. Not a peep at all. There's no. I will. Don't worry. I will be all over that as well as soon as there's anything on that to talk about. But it's all very quiet on the Paul McCartney Archive Collection score. Mike, there's a mixing error on Isn't It a Pity version 2 at 2 minutes 15. Do you think Harry Songs will fix it? So for anybody who's not heard that, there's a point in the song where it sort of goes quiet for a few seconds, and then it all sort of builds back up to the da 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 da, and the keyboard in the background is just completely out of time with the rest of the song. It's really jarring. And do I think they'll fix it? No, I think this is done. It's done. It's locked in. They ain't gonna go back and change it. What would be, and this is again is going back to that thing I mentioned a few minutes ago about the difference between what we want as fans and what is offered to us by the business side of things. And where's the business sense for them in doing that? I just don't think they'd get anything back from it. So, but then again, on the flip side to that, defeat my own argument, there's this news come out now that Giles Martin is now going back and rebuilding the Sgt. Pepper mix. Is it the Atmos mix or the 5.1 mix? I think it might be the Atmos mix. Because the Atmos mixes are getting used more and more sort of circumstances with probably with Apple Music or whatever, and they probably think there's actually benefit in doing that. But I don't think they're going to go back and fix anything on All Things Must Pass. Astro J, you think the Tug of War remix is great? It's quite reverb heavy, isn't it? I've just recently bought an original pressing Tug of War. Can I get at it handily while I'm here? Possibly. Yes, I can. So I've got 2 Tug of Wars here. Bear with me. Live and interactive. So, God, which one's which? I don't even know which one's which, to be honest. I think that must be the... Yeah, that is the archive collection there. And then I bought this original pressing. It only cost me about £4, and it sounds superb. It really does sound superb. And I'm kind of falling out with the remix a little bit lately when I'm hearing the original more. Multiverse, you're having Amazon deliver the vinyl of Brainwashed today because you've only had it on CD. Love that album. Excellent. It's a great album. I think I did a George Harrison album rankings video a couple of months ago now, and I was sort of mentioning on there that like there's about half the album that I absolutely really really love, And there's another kind of half of the album that just sort of washes over me, and I don't really tend to remember it so much. But I really, really like that. Here's a test for you, Andrew. Do ranking top 20 Beatles and solo albums combined. Be interesting to see how many solo albums would make your top 5. I think that would be an emotional nightmare. It'd be interesting to do, and I've thought of doing things like solo Beatles album rankings and that kind of thing. I might do it as a live World Cup sometime, then I can just hand all the decisions over to you lot. That might be easier. Hi Anthony, how are you doing? Have I seen you tonight in here? What's this? With Lennon and Harrison doing remixes, do we think a McCartney archive could see a remix next, or will he be wary after Tug of War didn't go down amazingly? I don't think he'll go down. I mean, the one that I would love to see a remix of is Venus and Mars, because I'd love to hear how that could be made to shine sonically in the same way that, for example, Speed of Sound does, because it's a bit of a muddy mess. But I think the archive collection, Tug of War was an exception, and it was done for technical reasons. There was a reason why Tug of War got a remix and the others didn't, and that reason doesn't apply to any other album in his catalogue. So I think he's got his pattern established. He's got his high res, he's got his remaster, he's also got a separate campaign going now, hasn't he, with the half speed remasters. So he seems to like that, and I'm sure he's doing probably quite nicely business wise off it. So maybe he'll go down that route, but it would be kind of bucking the trend. Edward, hi Edward, sorry, only just joined. Have you spoken about Get Back yet? Briefly, I'm going to do the bulk of my talking about Get Back soon. Yeah, so you've not missed a great deal on that, really. Sheffield and Beyond says Bob Dylan is taking the lead from England fans and releasing a cover of Sweet Caroline on the upcoming bootleg series. Is that on there? I've not really seen much of the track list. That's worrying. Right, okay. I haven't ordered that yet. I might wait until there's some sort of deal on, and that might be several months after release. We'll see. I just saw something that's just flicked off screen, so I just missed it, but it was something about what's my least favourite Beatles song. Tom, what is your least favourite Beatles song? You can't say Revolution 9 or Wild Honey Pie. Well, I wouldn't have done anyway. My least favourite Beatles song. Let's have everybody else's least favourite Beatles song in the comments while we're at it. I've got hair in my mouth. Really annoying me. Gives me a bit more thinking time, doesn't it? I would say that it's probably going to be... I'm not a fan of Little Child. I'm not a fan of Not a Second Time. And I'm really not a fan of Blue Jay Way either. So they would be quite high up there. There's very, very few Beatles songs that come remotely close to a category of not liking, but they're probably 3. Hi Robert, greetings from New York. Hello New York, my favourite city. I was supposed to be going to New York for Christmas. I was going to spend Christmas Day in New York, but I just don't think it's going to happen now. I'm not confident enough in the situation for it to not suddenly all go bad again when winter comes. So when winter comes, I recently got into some of the Beautiful South, says Anthony. Which album is best to go first in your opinion? I always say go chronological is always my advice. So Welcome to the Beautiful South is the first album. Fantastic. It's got some of their big hits on, because their big hits were, well, they sort of stormed in as a big band right from the start, off the back of the House Martins' success. And it's got some great singles on it, and it's got some great little sort of hidden gems as well. Like there's a song called I Love You But You're Boring on that album. That's really good. So I would start at the beginning, definitely. How about the Misogynistic Run for Your Life? It's a difficult listen kind of now, isn't it? I mean, although I'm absolutely not a fan at all of judging people today by the standards of yesterday, even that's pushing it a little bit. So, yeah, I don't know. Run for Your Life is certainly of that era. It's not up there with the best stuff, is it? Robbie, you don't even want to be in New York. Okay, fair enough. I'll swap here. Have I been or am I going to Liverpool Beatles Week, says Matt. I'm not going this year. I have been several times. I don't think it's quite the event that it used to be. If you go back about 20 years, it was a fantastic event. And I am going to Liverpool. Fingers crossed, barring one particular situation that could come along and scupper it. I am going to Liverpool next month, in about a month's time. Hopefully staying at the Hard Day's Night Hotel, which I've only ever been to the bar of before. I've not actually stayed there, but hopefully I'm going to be spending a couple of nights at the Hard Day's Night Hotel in Liverpool. And I'm trying to think at the moment. I've got to take my GoPro with me, and I've got to record something while I'm there, but I'm not quite sure what to record yet. So I'm kind of thinking of ideas at the moment of what I can do. I'd certainly like to go to the Casbah while I'm there, because I've never been there before. I'm hoping it'll be open. I might see if I can. I might see if I'm allowed to take my camera into the Casbah and do a little tour of that, if they'll let me. We'll see. Anyway, I've been avoiding the chat just a little bit lately. So, you're going to Beatles Week, Anthony? Yeah, I presume it's at the end of August, as it always used to be. It's not far for you to go, though, is it? You saw Paul play Live and Let Die a couple of years ago in Liverpool. It was the best thing I've ever heard live. Excellent. I've seen Paul play in Liverpool twice, and I'm actually going to be. I don't know, is Sam around? Sam Wiles from the Paul or Nothing podcast. We're going to be having a chat soon about a particular Paul McCartney event in Liverpool. We're going to be recording something that will be going live on his channel at some point in the future, but it is to do with a Paul McCartney event in Liverpool. So I hope he doesn't mind me saying that. I hope he doesn't mind me issuing a spoiler there. Hard Day's Night Hotel, £9 for 2 Baileys. Blimey, I think I'll take a bottle of Baileys with me. I do love a Baileys. Right, I'm going to take a bottle of Baileys with me. Isn't the Casbah been renovated? Says, hi, Caitlin. It is. I don't know whether they're converting it into apartments so you can go and stay there. You can go and stay overnight at the Casbah, which is great. I don't know whether the actual sort of coffee bar itself bit is still open. Maybe Anthony knows. Anthony's in Liverpool. He might be able to tell us. Is the Casbah open for business during renovation? Sorry. Would like to know. Have I been to the Maritime and Slavery Museum in Liverpool? I haven't. I'm guessing, but I think, is that down near the Albert Dock somewhere? I mean, I've been around that area many times, but I've not specifically been to that. No. Did I see Bobby Whitlock's response to All Things Must Pass? Yes, I did. The Hoff, and you're not actually the Hoff, are you? We talked about that. If you want to rewind this later on and go back to the beginning, you are welcome to do so. We talked a bit about. Everybody seems to want to know what I think about Bobby Whitlock's opinion. I don't know why anybody's interested in that, but we did talk quite a bit about that earlier on. Did I ever get around to listening to Vertical Man? I think I did. I kind of got waylaid with my Ringo journey, and I need to go back. I did one listen of Rotogravure, and I thought it was pretty awful. There was one song. It was a cover of it was a George song. It was a song that George wrote, presumably for him. And I think, what's it called? It's one that Scylla also did a recording of, and I liked that. But the rest of the album, I thought, to be honest, I don't ever need to hear this again. But yeah, I have listened to Vertical Man. There's a few songs on it that I like, but I need to go back and spend plenty more time with it. Please, Andrew, go to Strawberry Field Salvation School. It's open for the public. Well, I've only ever been outside. I've been to the gates and looked inside. But if it's open to the public, that would be interesting. I would definitely be interested in going in that. So thank you. I'll have a look at that. Graham says Rogue Best's Beatles Museum has some fantastic items. It really, really does. I've went in there a couple of years ago. I did a video as well. I asked when I went, I said, am I allowed to do some videoing while I'm here? And they said, yeah. So I did a video of a Liverpool tour, and there's some filming from inside there, and there's some items in there that just sort of, they leave you sort of a bit open-mouthed. Anthony doesn't think the Casbah is open too regularly for people. Okay. Thank you. I'll check. I'll double check, but I like the idea of going in Strawberry Fields, definitely. Hi, Gregory in Sheffield, just down the road. Would I have a guest on Talk More Talk? Guest on anything if I get asked. So, yeah, maybe so. Depends whether people want me, doesn't it? I'm always open to stuff. Caitlin, you've been inside Strawberry Field. Brilliant. Is it sort of preserved historically as it used to be? So, I mean, I went when I did that Liverpool trip that I talked about a couple of years ago. I finally did the John and Paul's Childhood Homes tour. As in, I mean, I stood outside them often, but to actually go upstairs, go in the bedrooms, go in the bathroom, go in the kitchen, the living room, to sit at the fireplace, looking like a yard away at the spot where John and Paul wrote I Saw Her Standing There, and for there to be a photograph above that spot taken by Paul's brother Mike of them writing I Saw Her Standing There, and you think, that photograph, that's there, and it's a yard away. It's pretty mind-blowing. It's a really special. If anybody gets a chance to do the John and Paul Childhood Homes tours through the National Trust, it's just fantastic. That both houses are preserved almost exactly as they were in the early 1950s and late 1950s, and it's an incredible 2 or 3 hours. It really is. Nicholas says, can I play some Harrison songs on my guitar? If so, which ones? I can. I've got some guitars up on my wall now. I'll just show you. You can see that. Got an acoustic, an electric, and a ukulele up on the wall there. I've not got any plectrums handy though, and I'm not very good at finger picking stuff. So I'll do some guitar playing another time. For those who joined me in my first live streams that I was doing sort of over a year ago, I used to break the guitar out every week, and I used to learn a new tune every week to play on guitar. And I've not done that for absolutely ages on video, so I'll do it again sometime. Strawberry Field has the Imagine piano, says Emmett, which is loaned from George Michael's estate. That's interesting because that was in the Beatles Story Museum, wasn't it, down on Albert Dock? That's where I'd seen that a few times. Yeah, so it's moved into there. I've still got that hair in the back of my throat. It's really annoying me. Hi, H.D. Smith. You're right. Opinions on the Macca 3 imagined dice boxes. Shall I go and get it? It's just over there. I'll just go and get it. I'll be back in a second. Don't go anywhere. I'm still here. I've not gone anywhere. Here we go. I'm back. So I've got... Put my Guinness down. I've got this. This was one of those things that I was very grateful to Capitol Records for sending me. Out of the blue, pretty much. So I've got this. I don't know what other dice configurations there are, but there's 3 dice there, and it's got number 3s on some sides, and it's got artist names. We've got St. Vincent there, Dominic Fike. I don't know if you can read this. I don't know if the focus is picking it up. EOB, which is Ed O'Brien from Radiohead. Blood Orange. So various artists who contributed to. So I like this. I do like this. I don't know what other configurations there are of that, but that's a nice little trinket to have. I remember your cover of I'm the Urban Spaceman. Did I do I'm the Urban Spaceman? Really? I honestly can't remember doing that. I'm sure you're right. If you've remembered it, I must have done it, but... okay. I really don't remember that. I'm going to have to go back and find that as proof. Right, what have we got? They sent me the name set. Excellent. I don't think they made any other variations of 3 Imagine. Is that it? So you got that as well, yeah? Did they ever actually put that out to buy? I think there was like boxes that you could buy, wasn't there? That had all sorts of little goodies in, and I think you could buy that. Gargle some water. It's still there, Tyrone. It really is. I'm gonna have to drink this Guinness faster, aren't I, and try and wash it down. Andrew, now we've got the All Things Must Pass set, says Andrew Galvin. What are the best Beatles or solo deluxe boxes for you? I still think that the best Paul McCartney archive collection is Red Rose Speedway. I think that's just a fantastic set. Flaming Pie's probably not far behind it. I still regularly, even as recently as yesterday, I still go back and listen to the Imagine box. Absolutely love that. I thought the Plastic Ono band... I think the Lennon boxes are pretty consistently looking like they're going to knock it out of the park. They are just really, really great. So I think I'm probably going to go... I love the Imagine box. I love the White Album box as well. So if I was going to pick one from each artist, I would say Red Rose Speedway, Imagine, the White Album, and it's too early to say with George because we've only had one. Something else I meant to mention is that 25 years ago today, at this very time, in fact, I would have just been getting into the swing of it, Oasis at Nebworth. Second night, I was there. Not too far back in the grand scheme of things, considering there was 125,000 people in that field. I just missed out on... There was a part at the front that was sort of sealed off and they let 10,000 people into there. I think it was so that they didn't get crushed by 125,000 people. It was like a sort of a cut-off point, and I just missed out on getting into that. So I was kind of only a tenth of the way back of the full thing. But yeah, a quarter of a century ago today, it was just incredible, was that. That was... they say that something like 4 million people applied for tickets in the UK for that concert. And this is in the days where you had to do it by post or phone. There was no internet. And that I worked that out. That's the equivalent of, like, if you're in the US, that's like if 20 million people applied for tickets for one concert. It's just absolutely crazy. So I'm really looking forward to what they're going to be issuing with that. I'm going to get the Blu-ray because it's got the full Sunday night concert and the Saturday night concert as well. But full Sunday night concerts, I've never really seen it since I was there. And I'm going to get the CD as well. So I'm really chuffed with that. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that just because it is the anniversary today. I wanted to get that in there. So I think I've just answered your question there, Anthony. I'm getting the 2 CD and I'm getting the Blu-ray. I don't think I need it on vinyl. But I have pre-ordered them. And what a great pricing structure, really. I mean, you're talking, there's a Blu-ray that's got 2 full concerts and all the documentary and everything. It's about 15 quid. Double CD is about 12 quid or something. It's just really good pricing, so we're chuffed with that. Hi Mike, you think that the various Beatles and Beatles-related releases this year have probably paid to another archive reissue until next year? Maybe so. And you know what? I'm going to feel vindicated if that's the case, because I did a video at the start of the year where it was kind of this is what we might be getting in 2021. And I said in that, I mentioned in there, when new Plastic Ono band was coming, that there'd be All Things Must Pass, that there would be Let It Be. And I said at the time that, we might get archives, but I wouldn't be surprised if, not out of the goodness of his heart, don't get me wrong, but for business reasons, I wouldn't have been surprised if Paul McCartney thought that this wasn't the best year to put out an expensive archive box because of all the other big stuff that it was known was coming. He might have felt it was a bit too much competition for people's money. So if that actually happens, I'll feel like I've got a little win there. So he'll probably scupper that by announcing 2 new archive collections tomorrow. But yeah, I just sort of felt that he might not want to compete for people's cash with big one. Sorry, I'm shaking the camera there. If the next big one is London Town Back to the Egg, as we suspect it might be, that's going to be an expensive set. He doesn't want people to have spent all their money on other stuff and him to miss out on sales. So that's kind of my thinking there. Will we have a concert for Bangladesh release, says Sheffield and Beyond? I mean, I'd love it, because it's a thing that I've never really known too much about. I've never studied it. I've never massively listened. I've listened to the album a little bit, but not a great deal. So I would love to get a chance to really get to know more about that. But I just wonder, like, is it that are the rights to it going to be difficult because of all the different people involved? Would that be a challenge? I mean, we already know that that's likely why Back to the Egg has been put back, because there's been some court case that it's assumed is to do with probably Rockestra or Concert for Kampuchea, or whichever one it is, it's to do with getting the rights to actually release this stuff. So I would love it to be released, but I just wonder how feasible it is for that to happen. Sheffield and Beyond, again, if you were in control of the Beatles solo and group businesses, what would you do? Let's find out. Come on, Apple. Put me in the job. I'd love that. What a great job that would be. I'd love that. What would I do? Right, okay, I've got to actually come up with an answer to this question now, haven't I? What would I do? I would... I think I would spend a little bit more time listening to what the fans want. And I'm not saying they don't give us a lot of what we want, because they do, and the vaults have been opened so much over the last few years, it's great. But there's always that one there's always at least one sort of question mark on every release. Why the heck wasn't that on there? So, you know, with Sgt. Pepper, why couldn't we have Carnival of Light in there? With the White Album, we got Take 18, was it, of Revolution, that kind of morphed into Revolution 9. But Take 20, that's the one. Why couldn't we have had Take 20 as well? So there's also these sort of little things where you think, oh, they've dropped the ball a little bit by missing something a bit obvious on. So that's kind of what I would like to do. Lima, yeah, I want Carnival of Light. It'll be terrible. It'll be awful. But at least we'll know. And I'll tell you what, I'm not having anybody come on here, because you always get somebody who says, oh, I've heard Carnival of Light. No, you haven't. Unless you are Giles Martin or Paul McCartney, you haven't heard it. You've heard somebody passing something off as Carnival of Light. So, hi David, I'm not talking about Bobby Whitlock again, but if you want to go back and rewind to the start of the video later on, we talked in depth about that. Yeah. Hi David, you alright? Not too many clues, David, but I've probably moved house nearer to you than I was before. Just got a copy of McCartney 3 with the white spine and spots. Any idea how many of these were made? What is it, just like a spotty vinyl, a black and white spotty vinyl? It's not the Third Man one that went for thousands of pounds, is it? I don't know how many were made, to be honest. No, sorry. Go check out the Vinyl Rewind video about Carnival of Light, really interesting. Have I seen... Is it a recent one? I've not seen many of his recent videos. I don't know whether I've seen that or not. Where are we? Sean, any chance of a top 20 of solo Beatles songs from Deluxe box sets? So you're talking about songs that weren't on the album but are just sort of extras, and if you've got the box set. It's funny you should mention that, because that's actually on my list of things to do. List of videos to do. I was going to do I was thinking specifically of the McCartney archive collection, but I was planning to do a sort of top 10, top 20, something like that. Songs that you've only got if you've got the archive collection. I'm not talking about bootlegs. So yeah, keep watching, because I will be doing that at some point, definitely. Mark Lewison said Carnival of Light is lousy. I don't doubt it, Joe. I really don't doubt it, but I want to know for myself. I think it's probably just a lot of them. There was supposed to be a lot of them just sort of shouting random words, wasn't there? So yeah, let's add Mark Lewison to the list. Yes, he has heard it as well. When he was allowed, can you imagine that? He was allowed access to just listen to pretty much all the tapes in Abbey Road. Wow, fantastic. Abbey Road's been open this week. I saw it on the news yesterday. So they've opened it up for tours again. And you get to go in Studio 2. Fantastic. I think it's just this week though, but I'd love to get on that sometime. Thank you, Liam. 4-1. Good start to the season. Have you heard, James says, have you heard that some vinyl, All Things Must Pass is warped? I've heard some people using the word dished. You know, you could eat a bowl of cereal out of it if there wasn't a hole in the middle to let the milk out. So, yeah, I've heard some people have that problem. Mine was absolutely flat as a pancake, so I got lucky there. So the chat's moving really fast, so I'm struggling to read anything before it disappears. There was an article I read where Giles said he does not want to do a remix of Rubber Soul Revolver until technology improves, so he can better separate the individual tracks. Yeah, and probably even more so with the albums before that, isn't it? So I think it will be interesting to see what happens after this year. Once Get Back, Let It Be is out of the way, which I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to come on to that very, very shortly. Let's do that next. So they'll have done Pepper right through to Let It Be, obviously including Abbey Road. I still wish they would do something a bit more expanded for Magical Mystery Tour. I would love something that focuses more on that. I mean, there was the box set that came out. It's up there somewhere. It's up there, that came out in 2012, I think. But it doesn't really offer extras in terms of... I'd love to hear some of the sort of incidental music from the film included. So that would be really good. So, yeah, let's... David, no, I didn't answer that, but if anybody else can answer it, whether it's if Joe's still around because he's got the Uber box, I don't know, why the All Things Must Pass oak bookmark is in the shape of a sycamore leaf, not an oak leaf. I thought it was a maple leaf, but I don't know why there's that discrepancy there. But let's talk about Get Back / Let It Be. So as I said earlier briefly before I got sidetracked, as I always do, it was all over the internet yesterday. It has been leaked. Probably shouldn't have been, I imagine, by Tony Bramwell. He was practically in a circle, wasn't he? He was he was in a Beatles in a circle in the 60s, but he kind of leaked yesterday that October 15th we're going to be getting a set, either called Get Back or Let It Be. We don't know what it's. Let's call it Get Back. I'm not going to keep going / but whatever. Let's call it Get Back. He said we're getting 5 discs. There seems to be a bit of contention about whether that's right. So I guess all we can do really at the moment is speculate, and that can be fun, about what it might be that we might be getting in that. And I guess you've got to assume that disc 1 will be a remix of the Let It Be album, and we know that Giles Martin has done it because he's said. There's a podcast, I can't remember the name of the podcast now, but it's hosted by Gary Kemp of Spandau Ballet and another chap, I'm sorry I don't know his name, and they interviewed Giles, and Giles said he's done it, and they said to him, for example, which version did you use? Did you use kind of Let It Be naked? Did you try and despecterize it, or what version did you remix? And he said, no, it's the original Let It Be album. That is what is remixed. So they're not removing Phil Spector from it like they have done, like they did on Let It Be Naked. What a kick in the teeth year it would be for Phil Spector if he got removed from Plastic Ono Band, All Things Must Pass, and Let It Be all in the same year. I mean, I know he's not completely removed. He's still all over it, but removed to a much lesser extent. But he said no, it's the actual Let It Be album. That's the one that they're remixing. So that's going to be disc 1. There's no doubt about that. It looks like it would seem likely that we're going to get one of the Glyn Johns mixes. And so we know that Glyn Johns did various mixes in 1969. And this to me is the really sort of interesting point about which mix will they use, because there is only one of his mixes that was ever really likely or potentially lined up for a release, and I think it was mix 3 if I remember rightly. But the thing with mix 3 is it's only got one George song on, which I think I'm going a bit from memory here. I think it must be For You Blue. I'm in Mind didn't come until later on, and that, of course that's why Paul, George and Ringo went into the studio in January 1970 to record I'm in Mind, because they knew it was going to be in the film. They needed it for the album. So the only actual genuine mix that was ever likely scheduled for release only has one George song in it. And I wonder whether Olivia and Danny, I don't know how involved Danny is, but between them, I don't know whether they would be hesitant. Whoa, there's only one George song on here. You know, songwriting royalties. Would they want mix 4, which was never scheduled for release, because Glyn Johns did a mix after I'm in Mind was recorded, but it was never ever likely to get released. But that's got I'm in Mind on as well, so 2 George songs. So it'll be interesting to see what direction they go in. Whether they will go with a mix that was actually likely to have been released, but with only one George song, or whether politics will play a part and we get something different. I would love it if everybody can swallow the pride and say, mix 3, that's the one that was going to be released. That's the one that should get released. So anyway, I'm waffling now. But I think we can probably assume that we're going to get a Glyn Johns mix. I would love to have a separate vinyl release of that as well, you know, with the 1969 EMI remake of the Please Please Me cover, just to have that as a proper vinyl release rather than any bootlegs that are going around. That would be great. Rooftop concert. Can we have the full rooftop concert? I know there's like a little bit in the middle where they were changing tapes and they missed a little bit. I think they only missed a little bit of just sort of chatter between songs. But let's please have as much as it's possible to have the full rooftop concert. Now that could easily be 3 discs taken up, and hopefully I would love to think there's at least another 2 or 3 discs of stuff we could have, because it's just so much there from those sessions that it would be great to have. I mean, I'd be kind of disappointed if it's only a 5-disc set, because I think if any Beatles album or any Beatles group or solo album justifies having more discs, this is the one, because there's just so much to choose from. So we'll see what we get. If it is coming in October 15th, then that's a good month and a bit before we get to see the 6-hour Peter Jackson film. So it'd be interesting to see. Obviously, if that's coming October 15th, then you're not going to get the film on Blu-ray in that package. That's absolutely not going to be there. So I would expect it to be probably like the other Beatles sets, where there's probably no video content. But then hopefully, once Disney's exclusivity has gone on the Peter Jackson film, we will get a release of that. There is no way on this earth that the Beatles deal with Disney doesn't allow for them to then release it physically once their exclusivity is over. And then the big question for me is, what will they do with the original Let It Be film? Because they did say, when this was all announced originally, they very specifically said that the original 1970 Michael Lindsay Hogg film would be made available as part of this overall release. So whether that means available to buy on Blu-ray, DVD, or available to go and see in the cinema for one night only, no idea. But it would be ideal if we could please at last buy that. Because, I mean, even in the sort of relatively short period of time I've been following the Beatles, which is from kind of the late 80s, I remember in 1990, the Beatles monthly book said it's ready, it's ready to be released on VHS, it's coming, and then of course it never happened. They shortly after did Help and Magical Mystery Tour and A Hard Day's Night on video, but Let It Be, nah, not a thing. So, October 15th, it looks like. I think we'll see whether it changes, but that's interesting information if that does happen as such. So I think, sorry, apologies, I've probably missed an awful lot of chat. What I do when these videos end, I always go back and rewatch and see all your commentary. So if I haven't seen your comment now, and there's an awful lot of comments that I'm not ignoring, I just haven't seen them because it's moving while I'm waffling on, I will see it afterwards. And so if there's anything even that you want me to read, even for afterwards, just put it in, because I will get to see it. So let me get back to the chat, because I'm conscious I've missed an awful lot. Multiverse, you wish they'd do a theatrical release sometime after the TV series? That would be great. I mean, presumably, originally Peter Jackson was working on a theatrical release. Did he ever finish that? Is there like a 2-hour version or something that's actually ready? And he then expanded it into 6 hours? So, I don't know. That'd be interesting. James says, my guess if there's 5 discs, disc 1 will be the album, yeah, the remix. 2 will be the original Get Back album. Oh, the original Get Back album, yeah, not the original Let It Be album, yeah, fair enough. 3 will be the rooftop gig, and the others will be studio outtakes. That sounds like a perfectly reasonable guess. We are all guessing at the moment, but I honestly couldn't come up with a guess that's any better than that, to be honest. Get Back in IMAX, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Was it Nebworth or elsewhere that Liam apparently didn't know they were doing a second night? It was Nebworth. And got off his tits the following night, not knowing he'd be needed on stage. Yeah, he has said, I heard him say fairly recently that he didn't realise that there was a second night at Nebworth. Absolutely incredible. I mean, I forget doing little gigs in backroom pubs, but my God, forgetting that you've done a gig in front of 125,000 people. Incredible. It's like Tim Burgess from the Charlatans, Tim who does the Tim's listening party. Somebody asked him on Twitter a few months ago about headlining Reading Festival. I think it was Reading Festival. It's like, for those of you that don't know, if you're not in the UK, it's kind of second only to Glastonbury, probably. It is a huge festival. And he said, no, I've never headlined Reading Festival, never done that. And somebody sent him the poster with him at the top and like a video of him headlining. Oh, right. He had no idea that he'd headlined that festival. That must be a great position to be in. Tom says, do I still prefer Egypt Station over McCartney 3? Interesting. Overall, probably yes. I think I probably do. I am really, really liking McCartney 3, and I'm still playing it quite often. I just think, I mean, even going back a year ago now, we had no idea this was coming. Can you imagine a year ago being told that by now you would have had, let's have a look, McCartney 3 for 8 months? It's just amazing. So I love it, but probably I still prefer Egypt Station. I think that is a fantastic album. Martin, hi Martin. Did you find the Beatles through Oasis? No, I was a Beatles fan several years before Oasis came along. I was becoming a Beatles fan in the mid to late 80s at school, and I was very much a lone voice at school. There was none of my mates who I could talk about that to. None of them were remotely interested. So no, I was into the Beatles a good sort of 7 or 8 years before Oasis came along. Sean, best solo vocal performance by John and Paul. Solo vocal performance by John and Paul. Well, I mean, there's so many to choose from, isn't there? John, let's say, I've just noticed the number of people watching has just plummeted. I wonder if the 10 o'clock news has just started or something. John, I'm going to go with, it could be Mother, the end of Mother, God. It's probably something on Plastic Ono Band. I think, in fact, it is. It's going to be something on Plastic Ono Band. I'll go for Mother or God. For Paul, wow. Just so many to choose from. I mean, because as well, he's got so many different styles, hasn't he? So you could say, you could go down one particular style and say Monkberry Moon Delight, fantastic. You could go down another style and say something like, I just think the voice that he uses on Mama's Little Girl is incredible. You could say something like 1985 is amazing. It is. There's just Maybe I'm Amazed is brilliant. There's so many to choose from. Hi David, thoughts on the complete Beatles? I assume do you mean the documentary from the 80s? I'm going to assume that you do. If you don't, then I'm going to be talking about something completely different here, and I'll look at Wally. The complete Beatles is one of the things that got me right into the Beatles. In that time period I'm talking about, in the sort of mid to late 80s, I got the complete Beatles on video, on VHS, and absolutely hammered it. Really did. And I love, there's like a real dark tone to it, isn't there, as well? The way that it's narrated, it's not a sort of a happy, jolly documentary. I loved it, and it's such a shame that we can't watch it anymore. I don't know who we could blame for that, but there might be a clue there for why we can't watch it anymore. It's such a shame because it is a fantastic documentary. Absolutely love it. I hope that's what you were talking about. Bruce, I've seen this a few times pop up. I've never had a chance to mention it. Archive Collection, London Town, Back to the Egg remasters album Wings this August 2021 tomorrow. I don't quite know what you mean in there, but no, it's not. There is no archive collection for those two that's known about at all. That's not happening. Am I getting the Beach Boys Feel Flow box set, Anthony? I probably will at some point. I haven't pre-ordered it. It's one of those things where, you could suddenly imagine the price going like that in January. So I'll probably swoop for it at some point, because I'd like to know a bit more about that era, other than, for example, Surf's Up is definitely my second favourite Beach Boys album behind Pet Sounds, but I don't really know a lot of what was going on other than just from listening to the main albums. Why did Paul shut down the complete Beatles? My understanding is he bought it to take it out of circulation so that it wouldn't compete with Anthology. That's what's suggested. So I have no reason to doubt that, to be honest. Hi Rory, are you looking forward to McCartney 321 on Disney Plus on 25th of August? Yes. I must admit, I have got it on my computer, the whole thing. And I've watched the first episode and I loved it, but I don't really want to just be watching it on my computer. So I'm definitely getting Disney Plus for when Get Back comes out, but I might get it early. I'll probably get it for back end of August, which is that's only a couple of weeks away, isn't it now? Interesting. Yeah, I'll probably get it because there's a lot of other stuff I want to watch on Disney Plus as well. I want to get into some of the Star Wars offshoots, because I've seen all of the main film series, but I've never seen any of the offshoots. So I want to watch quite a bit of those as well, and I love a Disney film as well. I'm a bit of a Disney fan anyway. So what will Ringo announce tomorrow, says Michael? Well, I think I expect it to be his next EP that follows on from Zoom In. I expect that's what it's going to be. I don't expect it to be a Let It Be announcement. Rumour has it possibly more in a couple of weeks' time that might come. Crazy for Beatles, what Rory's talking about there is the UK. We haven't had it officially over here in the UK yet, but it's coming on August 25th for us. Sheffield and Beyond, yeah, you've not been complimentary about the All Things Must Pass release. Did you say you'd cancelled one of your pre-orders? You're watching Daily for Deals. I think, yeah, at some point it's going to go like that, and some people are going to get lucky. Don't watch the Han Solo movie. Okay, is it that bad? Fair enough. Paul says George's dad was a hard man who would knock a dog over and drive on. George's dad. I heard something once about George's dad, and I've not seen it backed up anywhere, so I don't know how true it is. There was no mention of it in the Mark Lewis and Tuning book, but it was suggested that the person who persuaded Ken Dodd to take up a career in show business was George's dad when they were working on the buses in Liverpool. But I've never heard... Can anybody else tell me if they've heard that story and whether it looks like there's any truth in it? Because I'm not quite sure. But that's kind of what I'd heard. Duncan, hi. As Love Me Do chugged up the charts in late 62, I don't imagine that anyone could predict what it would... Sorry, your comments just disappeared off my screen there. They couldn't predict what it would lead to. No, it's incredible, really. I often look at... When you look at photos of them from that era, you just think, my God, they had absolutely no idea, did they, about what on earth their life was going to turn out like. Incredible. There's a you know that sort of thing about... If you could ask Paul McCartney one question, what would you ask him? There's kind of two questions that I would love to ask Paul McCartney, but one of them is, when did you know? Because they assumed at the start that they would just be, when the Beatles got successful, they thought, there's even interviews where they're saying, we think we'll be around for 2 or 3 years. You can be big-headed and say that we're going to last 10 years, but then we're lucky if we last 6 months. John said. They assumed it was all going to end. I'd love to ask Paul McCartney, getting back to the point, at what point did he realise that he was going to be Paul McCartney rock star for the rest of his life, that it wasn't ever going to go away? Because surely, when he talks about how insecure he was when the Beatles broke up and the kind of nervous breakdown pretty much that he went through, he probably even thought at that point that, this might be it. I might have to go and find another life now. So I'd love to know, at what point did he actually realise he never needs to go and find another life? He will be Paul McCartney rockstar until he is no more. So I'd love to know that. The other question I would love to ask him is, you're in a restaurant, the table next to you is empty, Pete Best comes in and takes his place at the table. What do you say to each other? That would be my other question for him. Sorry, I've been missing a lot on the chat again. Thoughts on the Best saying that the medals used on Pepper were theirs, desperate to remain in the story. No, I think that is true, Martin. They belonged, I believe, to Pete's mum, Mona, who, of course, because Neil Aspinall was around, he was always sort of there. They were still in contact with that family, even after Pete left the Beatles, through Neil. And that's why when you go to the Beatles museum on Matthew Street that was mentioned earlier on, that's run by Rogue Best, Pete's brother, he of course is Neil Aspinall's son. So the only time I went there, there was lots of memorabilia there from the early days, and you can think, yeah, well, of course that's come from Pete. But then there's so much genuine stuff from later on as well, right, in like the mid-60s and beyond, and you're thinking, how the heck have they got hold of this? And then it kind of dawned on me as I was going around the museum that, yeah, of course, a lot of that's going to have come from Neil Aspinall because of the family connection there to the Bests. So, I think my understanding is that those medals they did genuinely belong to Mona Best. And they probably got there through Neil Aspinall. Did I ever see the movie Snodgrass, says Lima? Yeah, that's the one where... Is it the premise is that if John had left the Beatles in 62 or 63 or something, and this is him 40-odd years later. Yeah, it was interesting. It's only ever going to be speculation and drama and fiction, but yeah, it was an interesting look. I quite enjoyed that. Anthony, yeah, Paul's book has come down. The price of the lyrics book has come down. It's down to about £50 now. and this is again why I always say, if you are, and I know some people don't like Amazon, and people love telling me that they don't like Amazon, thank you. But if you do pre-order through Amazon, it's great because, I pre-ordered it when it was like 70 odd quid. It's come down to 50. Even if it goes back up to 70 or above, I'm guaranteed that 50 quid now, because it's the lowest price that it is before they send it out. Is you're guaranteed that. So I think it's always worth doing. Right, what have we got? Well, Martin, if you're not buying it, fair enough. I believe it to be true, but you don't have to believe it to be true. That's your right. Fair enough. David, you were impressed by the Rogue Best Museum better than the Beatle experience. I think the advantage that it's got is because there is that family connection there, and there is a direct link. That the Beatles story is really good. It's really great, but it doesn't have that kind of personal link to it that the Beatles museum does. So yeah. Do I like Ringo's reggae song "Waiting for the Tide to Turn"? It's the best on Zoom In. It's all right. I think the whole thing. What I really liked about that is that the fact that it was just like it's 20 minutes about. Dip in 20 minutes of just sort of fun Ringo songs, and then it's done and it's over with. But yeah, the reggae song, that's a few songs into it, isn't it? It's been a few months since I listened to it now, but yeah, I did like that. I didn't particularly like the "Thank You for the Nights," is it called? I didn't like that at first. It was a bit there, but I've kind of grown to like that as well. Yes, okay, right. Start getting your last comments, questions in, folks, because I'm knackered, and I'm going to wrap it up fairly soon. But let's see what else we've got coming through before we go. But I think I've been interested in doing this tonight, not just for the fact that I haven't done one for a month, and I wanted to have a chat with you about All Things Must Pass and whatever. But I also needed to test that this would work because, like I said, I've never done a live stream on my laptop before. Not in this room before, and it's just a completely different setup to what I've ever done. Now that I know it works, the listening parties that I'd been promising for McCartney 3, Imagined, and All Things Must Pass, I can do those now. Not now, but I know what to do them. So if you've not joined me for a listening party before, you will be very welcome to. When I do those, I'll advertise them on Twitter. So if you want to have a look at... if you're on Twitter, that Twitter address there, I do loads more stuff on there than I do on YouTube. But I will always announce it on there and YouTube as well. But these listening parties, essentially what will happen is I will play the album in question, whatever album it is that we're doing. I will be listening to it on headphones, so you won't hear it come through my microphone because the video would get blocked immediately. I listen to it on headphones, but at the moment I press play, you press play at the same time. You're listening to it at your end on vinyl, on Spotify, CD, whatever you've got. And we listen to it together. And we just have a chat through the chat and me talking. And we just enjoy the album together. That's what that is. So I've done a few before. I did McCartney 3 when that came out. I did Plastic Ono Band, I think. I think I did actually do a 3 Imagined one when it first came out on Spotify. But I want to do another one now we've got a physical release of it. I'm going to do All Things Must Pass, the new remix. Matthew says, can I do a marathon All Things Must Pass listening party every disc? Wow. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. That's oh God. That would be a session, wouldn't it? But possibly so. And I'd like to just generally pick some other albums. I'd let's pick whether it's Rubber Soul or let's pick Living in the Material World or something like that, and just do some other listening parties. So I'm probably going to do some votes, I think, on Twitter is what I will likely do, as to, I'll say his 4 choices, whatever the winning one is, we'll do, and I'll set up a listening party for it. So yeah, I'm going to do those. I imagine I'll do one next week. I might even see about doing one over the weekend, potentially. We'll see. No, scrap that, actually. I've got plans this weekend. I will do them very soon. I will let you know. What we got? I would need a case of beer for an All Things Must Pass marathon. I really would. So, right. What is my favourite Beatles song, says Chrissy. I don't know how to answer that question. You could ask me 100 days in a row and I'd give you 100 different answers. I kind of like to sort of go with ones that are songs of the moment, of ones that I'm sort of digging a lot. So whilst I would not say this is my favourite Beatles song, for example, the ones that I'm really loving at the moment are ones that I haven't given as much attention to in the past. So Martha, My Dear, I Don't Want to Spoil the Party, I am absolutely loving at the moment. Red Rose Speedway double album. I assume you're talking about a listening party there. That could be fun. Nathan, my 1 hour broadcast is what time is it? 20 past 10. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, fair enough. You're trying to get rid of me, I know. My time's up. I've outstayed my welcome. But let's just see what else there is. Do I think there will be a remix of Concert for Bangladesh as they're promoting the concert film? We had a bit of a chat about that earlier, Rory. I would love to see it, but whether just the rights issues might be an issue for that. Don't forget, I will see your comments when I do when I read through this later on, so I will get to see everything. Apologies if I've not read your comment out, but I will get to see it. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. I'm gonna log off now, and I'll be back for those listening parties very soon. And let's enjoy the build up to Let It Be / Get Back, Beatles. It's all coming. It's all going to be good. But I will see you very soon, and this is me logging off now if I can find the right button to press, because I ain't got my mouse. I'll see you later. Bye.